What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
What is good, everybody? Sleazebomb here, back for another Weapon of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show podcast. Today we are going to be talking about our start, sit-em, tight ends for every single matchup, guys. Over the weekend, sorry I didn't get to it. I will get to all my rankings here tomorrow. I will also be looking at some smash starts, some sleeper plays for you in week one. My goal is to have everything out to you before Thursday kickoff, so you guys have all my content that you can see, guys, before the kickoff to help you dominate your leagues. As always, guys, before we dive into it, make sure you tap that thumbs up, hit that bell. That subscription means a ton. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support. Also, in the link will be pinned in the description as well as in the comments. The Guys FF Patreon, me and my partner, Big Draft Energy, we cover everything, Dynasty, best ball, pick'ems, everything you need in fantasy football to dominate. And as always, got to throw a shout out to the sponsors, Drafters. If you guys have not signed up on drafters.com, it is the best way to practice for your drafts with best ball, in my opinion. Pick'ems, DFS plays, DFS daily drafts, everything like that. If you haven't signed up, make sure you use promo code SLEAZE. It will match your deposit up to $100. And let's dive in to my start, sit, tight ends for week one. We are 3 days away from football, baby. If you guys are new to the channel, this is the start sit 'em board for tight ends. The away team on the top versus the versus team heading on the bottom, which is going to be the home team, guys. You're going to have the green, the yellow, and the red start. 50-50 flex play, and the red is kind of a sit 'em no matter what for me. Starting off, guys, we're 3 days away. Thursday night football is here. Can you believe it? The Philadelphia Eagles are hosting the Dallas Cowboys. And in this game, I'm going to go with Jake Ferguson as a start tight end based on purely passing volume they're going to have in this game, right? So there's 47.5 over-under. Spread's pretty high compared to the rest of the field this week. Philly is favored by 7.5. Losing Micah Parsons definitely dropped them down a little bit in the spread, 100%. Also put him as the number one defensive player of the year, which is freaking crazy. And we're looking at Dallas. Their running back room, Miles Sanders, Jadon Blue, Javonte Williams. This Philly front is going to be after that run game all game long. Not going to be a lot of running here for the Dallas Cowboys. So even when you have Pickens and CD on the outside, I still like Ferguson a lot to eat across the middle. Definitely, I think he's going to beat his projection in this game. On the Dallas Goedert side, I'm not putting Dallas Goedert as a sit this week. I don't think they're going to need to utilize Dallas Goedert that much. I think he's going to be touchdown heavy, and if you're dependent on if he doesn't get one, he's not going to be a great start volume-wise. You have A.J. Brown back healthy, according to reports. Devonta Smith will be out there. Saquon Barkley, the offensive line. No Micah Parsons. Again, on the Cowboys side, Saquon Barkley's going to have an absolute feast day this week. And I'm going to put Jake Ferguson as a start and Dallas Goedert as a sit. Out to Sao Paulo, Brazil, we go. The division matchup. The Chargers are going to be hosting the Chiefs. Of course, it's not a home game. They are in Brazil. On the Chiefs side, this is going to be one of my bold calls of the week here. I'm going to move it right now live for you in the moment because I have Travis Kelce, even with everything going on right now, right? Travis Kelce is going to be a sit for me this week. Why is he going to be a sit for me this week? Because the Chargers know him all too well. They know that he's going to be the focal point of this offense, especially with Rashee Rice out. So I think they're going to force them to focus on different plays like Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy, Juju Smith-Schuster. And I do not think he's going to beat his projection. And I've honestly stayed away from Kelce all year long. We don't know how dialed he is in for football. You got the Taylor Swift wedding. This guy is in commercials. He's in movies. I've stayed away, and I do not. Obviously, if you drafted him, you're probably going to start him here, but I do not like Travis Kelce as a start against this Chargers team. They know him. They play him 2 times a year for almost a freaking decade. It's going to be a tough matchup here for him in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And onto the Chargers side, we don't even really know who's going to be the starting tight end out there. Could it be Tyler Conklin, Will Dissly? Could a Rondé Gadsden emerge? Are you really going to start any of these guys in redraft? Let's be honest, they're probably both on your waiver wire, including a Rondé Gadsden. Not a lot to talk about here on the Chargers side. It's going to be a sit for me on both sides for both these teams this week. Another division game matchup. The Bucs are headed into Atlanta, Georgia to take on the Falcons, and hopefully the new league Michael Penix, Kyle Pitts connection can come to life this year. Onto the Bucs side here, it looks like K. Dotton practiced in this. He's been injured, coming up to this game right now. Devin Culp could be a late streamer, like DFS style, really cheap. If you wanted to take that dart throw kind of shot here, I'm not going to be starting K. Dotton off the injury. I'm not going to put Devin Culp up here because I don't think you're going to start him in a redraft anyways. A name to pay attention to if you're playing DFS for sure. On to the Falcons side now. I've been saying it. I'm on the one last dance ride with Kyle Pitts here. If you drafted him, you probably got him 14th, 15th round, maybe 13th round if you reached up a little bit. Late value. Looks like Darnell Mooney day-to-day could be good to go. That could take targets away from Kyle Pitts as well here. So I have him as a fringe tight end start if you need. I do think with Penix out there, it is going to help him see a lot more volume, more utilized air yards like last year. Although it was a small sample size down the stretch, it was at least improvement from how they used Kyle Pitts before. So if you need to start Kyle Pitts, you can, and I'm not starting K. Dotton. Heading down to Cleveland, Ohio, the Browns will be hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. And man, I'm hoping the Bengals don't get off to one of their slow starts like always here. And they're going to have to pass heavy all year long. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows the Bengals defense is going to be very bad. And when I'm looking at the Bengals here, I mean, if I wanted to throw like a DFS play on Gesicki, possibly Noah Fant signing, how are they going to use him? We're obviously at week 1. We do not know that yet. I'm staying away from both these tight ends. They're probably both on your waiver wire and redraft anyways as well. If you wanted to take a DFS start, though, I'm not against that. The over-under is 47.5 since he's favored by 5.5. And on the Brown side, guys, this is like the play of the week. This may be my number 1 tight end coming in this week. David Njoku, Joe Flacco at quarterback. You're going to have Jerry Jeudy. You're going to have Cedric Tillman on the other side. But Njoku is going to absolutely feast in this game. The Browns are probably playing 90% of their games from behind this year. This is why I love the trailing volume. This is why I've been saying draft Njoku, draft Jerry Jeudy, draft all these guys. Regardless of the quarterback that's out there, they're going to be pass heavy all year long. Njoku is going to be absolute smash across the board this week. Lucas Oil Stadium, we are headed down to the Indianapolis Colts. Will be hosting the Miami Dolphins, one of my favorite games of the week, fantasy points wise. I'll get to all of that in my rankings coming up here in the videos, guys. But it does look like Darren Waller is going to be out there week 1. Do I trust Darren Waller, not being ramped up in training camp, not being there in the offseason that much, and coming off being a rapper and not playing? Not really. Does he have touchdown upside? For sure. With the big body, he always does. They say he's in phenomenal shape, working out in the offseason. But again, that's not NFL shape. I'm staying away from Darren Waller in week 1. Tyler Warren, I will have on stardom every single week. There's so many things to digest here with this Colts offense. Kind of like the Browns. Do I think they're going to be playing from ahead in a lot of games? No. Could they be ahead in the Dolphins game? For sure. But where does Danny Dimes live in his career? In the middle of the field. Outside, he's always got lower completion percentage outside in his entire career, left or right side, across the middle is where he thrives. This is where Tyler Warren will be the security blanket, and this man is an absolute stud. Should have been drafted ahead of Colston Love. I said this all year long. He's probably going to be a start for me all year long. I love Tyler Warren this week, and I'm sitting Darren Waller. The Raiders are headed into Foxborough to take on the New England Patriots. It's going to be an East Coast team traveling west, where West Coast teams usually always struggle. And you can tell by the over-under right here, 43.5, one of the lower point totals on the week. New England is favored by 2.5. Now, if Hunter Henry, we're going to save that one. Obviously, Brock Bowers, automatic start every single week, no matter what. You paid the draft capital. Nothing really to talk about here every single week. There's no way I'm going to ever say sit Brock Bowers. I have had a little lower expectations for him this year compared to last year, because you do have Pete Carroll, you do have Chip Kelly, you do have a run system implemented, you do have Ashton Genty, and they had no run game last year. It's like one of the worst of all time. So obviously it's going to change this year, but still, you're not sitting Brock Bowers ever, let's be honest. Now, Hunter Henry, he's one of my sneaky tight end plays this week. I really like him a lot across the middle. Drake May, obviously going to be his first full year starting this year. Came in a little bit last year, got injured, and played a little longer down the stretch. The weapons they add, they give him Kyle Williams. They got Diggs. You got still DeMario Douglas. Maybe Chisholm pops in there. But I think Hunter Henry is going to be a very, very special, possibly number 2 target for the New England Patriots. He's got the chemistry with Drake May, and I think he's going to be the security blanket across the middle. And I think his touchdown upside is one of the highest this week versus the Las Vegas Raiders, and I really, really like Hunter Henry as a start this week at tight end. The Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray are headed into the Superdome to take on the New Orleans Saints. And again, you have another low-scoring projected game here in the Vegas odds, 43.5. Arizona's favored by 6.5 in this game. Obviously, guys, if it's Trey McBride, this is my tight end 1 on the year. Is there really much to talk about ever with Trey McBride? You are starting this guy every single week, no matter what. He is my tight end 1. I firmly believe he was going to be tight end 1 last year. Obviously, the touchdown upside wasn't there. That's going to change this year. Trey McBride, you're starting every single week. On the Saints side, Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill still on IR. Again, we're talking redraft here. If you wanted to take a DFS shot on, Juwan Johnson for possible TD upside, you could do that. Very, very cheap value. Not something I'm ever confident here in redraft, even though I do think that the Saints are going to be playing kind of like the Browns. This is why I've been targeting Olave. This is why I've been targeting Shaheed and Kamara, because they're going to be playing a lot of games from behind. You have Kellen Moore as well. Now, a little offensive mind to help. It's just the quarterback situation that keeps me away from the Saint or Juwan Johnson here. Could it be a security blanket for Rattler or Shuck or however it plays out? Just something I don't like there. I'm sitting Juwan Johnson. Of course, you're starting Trey McBride. And Taysom Hill is someone to keep your eye on. If you have an IR spot, you might want to throw him in there. We're going to get sneaky here in a game that I don't like at all for points-wise, and neither does, obviously, Vegas. It's the lowest scoring point total of the week, 38.5. The Jets are going to be hosting the Steelers in a grunge battle matchup. Now, on the Steelers side, Arthur Smith. The 12 personnel he likes to run at tight end. Are you going to start Pat Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith? I do not feel comfortable starting them, especially without seeing at all how it's going to go. I don't think there's much to talk about here with these two guys in week one. And honestly, all year long with them, unless there's kind of an injury, are you really going to like the volume that either one of them get as a double tight end, what they're going to run a ton of in Pittsburgh? That's what Arthur Smith does. Not for me. I'm not starting this weekend, especially against that Jets defense. There's no way. Now, number one sneaky play here that's going to be a start for me is Mason Taylor, rookie out of LSU. You do have Garrett Wilson out there. He's going to be the focal point with three insane corners the Pittsburgh Steelers defense has. Where are they going to be weak at? Across the middle with the tight end position. This is why I like Mason Taylor as a start this week. His projection is way too low, and he's going to be the second focal point of this offense. You could say Breece Hall if you wanted to in the passing game, but you got Josh Reynolds, Arian Smith, Alan Lazard. He's going to be the second focal point behind Garrett Wilson. I think he's a very, very sneaky touchdown upside this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I like him as a start. Another division game here. The Giants are headed in to take on the Commanders. Terry McLaurin is signed for JD5, and the Commanders heading into this matchup. Now, on the Giants side, Theo Johnson, definitely someone to keep your eye on. Even on the waiver wire, if he's there, maybe a stash if you need a second tight end, because he did play 100% with the first team all preseason long. So, they brought in Thomas Vidot. I'm not going to put his name up there. I don't think he's relevant at all. And I don't think Theo Johnson is really, fantasy start relevant either. But you are going to be in an offense where they're playing from behind probably most of the games. You're going to have neighbors out there, Wan'Dale Robinson to go with him. If he could emerge, he was one of the highest RAS score athletes coming out at tight end. This man can do it all. He just needs opportunity, needs to learn the system. This is his second year in the system. Again, someone to keep your eye on here, not a start for me. Commander's side, Zach Ertz. It's just, I want Ben Sinnott so bad. I've been screaming for this for almost 2 years now. I don't know what's going to happen next year either. So Zach Ertz is going to be a start for me. I believe Terry McLaurin, and when you're 30 years old, you've been coming off a holdout. You haven't been there all camp. Debo's been there. They've said that Zach Ertz has been the cheat code of this offense, and that's how I'm going to treat it week one. I'm going to treat Zach Ertz as a start tight end. I think he's going to see a lot of volume. I think Terry McLaurin is going to take 4 to 5 weeks to shake off the rust, and we know that Giants front seven is going to be one of the best in the NFL versus the run. They're going to really struggle with Ja'Cory Crosby-Merritt, Austin Eckler, or Chris Rodriguez, however it goes. So they're going to need to pass across the middle. Zach Ertz is going to have a good game here, and I believe he's a start, and I'm sitting Theo Johnson, but someone to keep your eye on. One of my favorite fantasy football point games of the week is the Panthers-Jaguars. I am targeting this game heavy across the board, DFS, every single thing here. Now, you got the Panthers coming in 46.5 over under. Jacksonville's favored by 3.5. Now, when you look at this game here, both these tight ends, you have Jatavion Sanders. I liked him for a breakout last year. Obviously didn't happen. He started to catch a little fire, then he got hurt. Now, you obviously have Jalen Coker go on IR. They bring in Hunter Renfrow. Will he be ready week one? Possibly. If you want to throw out Jatavion Sanders as a starter, you can. I have it as a, right in the middle, because I think he's going to be the second option in this offense behind Ted McMillan. And when I look at Coker being gone, could it be Xavier Legette? Could it be Hunter Renfrow? I'm going to bet on the Texas stud that I like coming out. But again, not a start him player, but if you need to throw him in there, I think he could pop this week and beat his projection. Brenton Strange on the Jacksonville Jaguars side. You're getting the Carolina Panthers. You know this defense is very bad. The only thing with him yearly is going to be how does it play out with BTJ, Travis Hunter, And, Diami Brown even beat out there Parker Washington breaking out. And you got Liam Cohen's system where the tight end really doesn't thrive unless everyone's hurt. So if you look at last year, like Kate Otten had those 3 weeks where he was balling. That's because Godwin and Mike Evans were down. So the tight end hasn't really shown a lot of upside, although I do like Strange for kind of a breakout this year. It's just a system where there's a lot of talent around, and if he's probably going to hit weekly and then you're going to start him next week and he's going to dud. So he's kind of both these guys are 50-50 friends guys for me. If you want to start him, you can. If you don't want to start him, I'm fine with that as well. Heading down to Mile High Stadium, they are sending Cam Ward in for a nightmare week 1, in my opinion. I mean, the number 1 pick has to go in against probably the number 1 defense in the NFL on the road. This is going to be very, very rough. Chigakonkwo, I mean, I do like for a breakout this year. I don't think Gunnar Helm is going to press him much as the guy they drafted out of Texas. I don't think he's going to play much of the factor here. I do think Chig could find his way into the number 2 option in this offense down the stretch. You got Calvin Ridley as well, who's going to absolutely feast. But you have to look at it like there's just so many names. There's Chimera Dike, there's Tyler Lockett, Xavier Restrepo back to the practice squad. And I'm missing the other one. I'm blanking on his name right now, but there's another wide receiver I can't think of. Obviously, I'm not looking at the stats right now, but it's trying to come to me. It's not coming to me. But another rookie they drafted out of Stanford, I can't think of his name. He'll be another option as well. But I'm putting Chig on a stick because I just don't trust it. Broncos side, Evan Ingram. I will not have this guy probably on a sit all year long. I've been saying he's my dark horse tight end 1 all year. I've been saying he's my favorite value to draft at tight end. What you have to look at, you already saw in the preseason with a little 58-yard play on his only drive he played. You're going to get the Joker role in a Sean Payton system that's going to feature Cortland Sutton as the guy. I truly believe Evan Ingram will out-target Cortland Sutton this year. You have to remember what Jimmy Graham did in this role. Sean Payton has not had a tight end even close to good enough that it even compares to Jimmy Graham like Evan Ingram. So this is like my favorite play weekly. I love Evan Ingram this year. Not going to have him as a sit much at all this year. And he's going to be a start for me against the Titans, and I'm going to be sitting Chigakonkwo. Down to the 12th man we go in Seattle, 42.5 over under. They are hosting the San Francisco 49ers. My bang, bang Niners are coming into town here. And when you're looking at George Kittle, let's be honest, guys. We do get the news that Juan Jennings back at practice today. You're going to have Ricky Pearsall out there. Brandon Ayuk still on IR. If you spent the draft capital on George Kittle diddle down the middle, you're not sitting this guy. Let's be honest. He's going to be a start all year long for me. Pretty plain and simple there with the top 3 tight end that's been averaging that for the past 5 years. I mean, that's common sense. On to the Seattle Seahawks side. This one was kind of a weird battle for me in the camp. I mean, I thought Elijah Arrell would come out on top. They never really confirmed. Both these tight ends, A.J. Barner and Elijah Arrell, have been battling for this spot. Barner drafted last year, Arrell drafted this year. And it's just going to be a situation I'm avoiding here because we don't know how it's going to go. There's been a lot of Torrey Horton breakout for the wide receiver 3 talk behind Cooper Kupp and Jay Season. It'd be very touchdown dependent. Like a DFS cheap dart throw play be the only way I'd throw these guys out there. Definitely not in a redraft. They're definitely going to be a sit for me. And Kittle's going to be a start all year long. Oh, the NFC playoff. Look early, baby. 47.5 over under. The Detroit Lions are headed into the Green Bay Packers with the Micah Parsons possibly taking an injection shot to deal with the pain this week. But this game meant 47.5 over under. Like I said, they like the points to fly, as do I. Sam Laporta and Tucker Kraft, both going to be starts for me in this game. They're both going to have very high touchdown upside. You know that all the weapons around these guys, Amon-Ra, Jamison Williams, Isaac Tesla breaking out, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. There's so many to worry about, even on the Packers side. Now you have, Matthew Golden to go along with Romeo Doubs. Jaden Reed will be out there playing kind of injured through the season for him. Josh Jacobs. The middle, these guys are going to feast just because there's so many people around them. They have defenses have to worry about and game plan and scheme for. And I like Tucker Kraft for a major breakout. And I think Sam Laporta is going to have more of a bounce back year from playing injured last year, kind of all the way through that no one really knew. Obviously, you have a new coaching scheme with Ben Johnson gone. But I think it is going to be a little more tailored, a little more to Sam Laporta than last year, because last year was kind of an aberration. But again, he was playing hurt. And I like both these guys as starts this week. Down to SoFi Stadium we go, where the Rams will be hosting the Texans in this game. And this is one of those tight end games for me where I'm like, ugh, right? Like, could they get a touchdown dependent shot and get in? Yeah. Am I starting Dalton Schultz in redraft? No. If you want to take the DFS start throw, go for it. Again, be very touchdown dependent. I mean, you've got Nico Collins. They draft Jaden Higgins. They draft Jalen Noel. They get Christian Kirk in free agency. Tank Dell making some weird progress. Obviously, Joe Mixon is down, so you can see them pass more. Nick Chubb will step in. Their offensive line is ranked bottom of the barrel, so the run game is going to be anemic all year long. Dalton Schultz, not a start for me. Not much to talk about with him. I'd pay attention to Cade Stover, though, because I like him. If he comes out there, I think he's more athletic and could be a better play. Someone to keep your eye on. I didn't put his name up there, but remember the name. On to the Rams side. I mean, you got Devontae Adams, you got Puka Nacua. Are you really ever going to feel comfortable starting Higbee or Ferguson? Again, you'd be touchdown dependent to do so. I do like Terrence Ferguson to win this job. Hopefully, you still got Higbee at old age. He's had a couple injuries here and there. Father time might be catching up with him. If Ferguson gets out there, would I still put him as a start with Devontae Adams and Puka? Probably not. Kyron Williams going to have a monster year. The offensive line back intact. Stafford is back healthy. I don't like any of these tight ends as a start in redraft this week. Oh, this is your AFC possible championship preview game of the week. The NFL knows how to spice up week one. Get them ratings up on Sunday Night Football, baby. I cannot wait for this game. The Ravens are taking on the Bills, 50.5 over under. They expect the points to fly, as do I in this game. Dalton Kincaid, if you need to throw him out there as a start, I started with the Bills first on accident. You can throw him out there. You're going to have Keon Coleman out there. I do like him as the breakout guy. Khalil Shakir is also playing banged up. If you've listened to Dr. Jesse Morris, shout out to him. Got to meet him in person at the Expo. That was amazing. He'll tell you that Khalil Shakir is not going to be fully healthy till week 5. He could be out there flanking decoy. He's more of a floor guy anyways. Could Kincaid find the end zone here? Of course, for sure. The Ravens defense is very improved, as is the Bills. But in this game, you got Isaiah Likely down as well. Mark Andrews is going to be a smash start for me. And this guy was absolutely balling out down the stretch last year. Coming off injury, played hurt, had the car accident. Now you've got Likely out. The 12 personnel set's going to be less. Zay Flowers out there. Of course, you have Bateman and the old man D-Hop. If he has any juice left, we'll find out. I'm still starting Mark Andrews. He's still Lamar Jackson's go-to guy. And if you need to throw out Dalton Kincaid, I'm okay with it because this is a shootout game possibility. 50.5 over, 1.5 favorite for the Bills. And, man, you got to like the points that are going to fly in this game. That's just something you have to pay attention to in fantasy. Last but not least, Monday Night Football. The Minnesota Vikings are headed into Soldier Field to take on the Chicago Bears. 43.5 over under. Minnesota's favored by 1.5. They want the 2024 QB battle, as do I. J.J. McCarthy, new revamp line. Caleb Williams, new revamp line. Obviously, Jordan Addison is going to be out. TJ Hawkinson, for me, one of the best values you can get in your draft. He was injured all last year, coming off revamp, slow working, coming back, fully healthy now. And you got to look at it like J.J. McCarthy. This is his rookie year. He was hurt last year as well. This is going to be your new security blanket. There's a reason they let Sam Darnold go because they think J.J. is the guy, as do I. Obviously, you followed me last year. I was super high on J.J. McCarthy, and I think he's going to absolutely feast on this Monday Night Football game, especially with Jordan Addison down, even with the addition of Adam Thielen, right? Obviously, Justin Jefferson will draw the doubles, but I think T.J. Hawkinson's in for a monster year this year. On to the Bears side, I've been saying this all year long. This is going to be an offense where I just want to draft Caleb Williams, right? Like, you're going to have DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Luther Burden. Could it be Olamide Zaccheaus? DeAndre Swift catches the ball at the backfield 50-plus times a year as well. It's going to be a nightmare for what hits. If you want to throw out Colston Loveland, you can. The Vikings defense is going to be swarming Caleb Williams in this game as well. There's also Cole Kmet for 12-team personnel that they'll run as well. Not something I like in week one to start is to just I drafted Colston Loveland. The rookie hype is here. Dude, there's so many mouths to feed. You got to recognize this in fantasy football. This is something that is going to be impossible for even us content creators or anybody you talk to predict because there's so many things to go around here in Chicago. I'm staying away from be touchdown dependent, in my opinion, from Colston Loveland and Kmet. Not something I want to risk in my first week of fantasy football. I want to get the dub. I am sitting these two, and I'm starting TJ Hawkinson this week. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. Remember, guys, on your way out, hit that thumbs up, smash that subscription. Helps me out a ton. I'll be bringing you fantasy football content all year long, every single week to help you guys dominate fantasy football. As always, guys, if you haven't checked out the Discord, the link is in the description, pinned in the comments as well. The Guys FF, we help you dominate everything you need in fantasy football. And if you guys haven't signed up for drafters, make sure you use promo code SLEAZE. It will match your deposit up to $100. My next video is going to be my QB rankings in the morning. We're going to try and crank out all the rankings, get to my smash starts, get to my sleepers, and a couple other different videos. We're going to have shows Thursday, Sunday before kickoff, and Monday as well, guys. We're going to be live. I cannot wait. The season is almost here. Thank you guys for listening. Sleaze Bomb out.